Welcome back to the Ridley Scott Review-a-thon. That's right. The series that I have not done in a while, but it's where I review Ridley Scott movies. All of Ridley Scott movies. I want to see everything the man has ever done, and of course, yes, I am a fan of Ridley Scott. But what better way to get back into the swing of things than by watching his latest film, Napoleon? Now, a couple of things first. No spoilers in this review. I'm not going to go into any spoilers because I don't think it's necessary, number one. But number two, if you're going to watch Napoleon, then you deserve to not have it spoiled by someone like me, talking about the film. But also, I want you to know that just because I'm a huge Ridley Scott super fan, I've got the shirt, I've got all kinds of Ridley Scott stuff, books and whatnot, doesn't mean that I won't be critical of the movie. And Napoleon is, look, technically, this movie is pretty much perfect. It's Ridley Scott, okay? The man knows how to make a film. The attention to detail is just, it's jaw-droppingly beautiful at times. A lot of the framing, the way that everything is shot, the way that everything looks, the set design, the costume design, just pitch perfect. There had to be a ton of CG in this movie because there's no way to film battles like this in this day and age. I just don't think that that's possible. And I had a really, really tough time trying to figure out where the extensions began because, that's a lot of times what happens in these huge battle scenes is that, if it's not in the foreground, it's going to be CG. I couldn't see a whole lot of the, I was looking for gaps in the armor, so to speak. I was trying to figure out where it was. The CG was amazing in this. Now, granted, there are a couple of scenes with some shots that are a bit questionable, and not questionable like, oh man, that was so terrible it took me out of it. It was more like, okay, that's obviously a CG shot. It just doesn't look, it looks a bit artificial. And you notice it, but then you just get back to the movie and it's fine. But I mean, I did notice that. But overall, I have to commend all of the different houses that did CG work on this movie. It was pretty amazing. I do also have to commend Ridley's longtime cinematographer, Darius Volsky, I believe is how you say his name. Amazing. It just, like I said, everything was just beautiful. Just really, really beautiful. The way things are framed, the way the camera moves, all of that. And I especially liked, this may not be the case, but it seemed to have a lot of natural lighting in a lot of the scenes indoors. And if that's true, I really enjoyed that. The look of it, it just looked really, really cozy in some, in some scenes. It was really, really nice. And it really makes it for like a nice callback to Ridley's first movie, The Duelists, where a lot of that movie was also shot with natural light. I enjoyed that. Now, the acting. I will say that Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby are definitely the stars of this movie, but they are surrounded by a host of top-notch character actors. There's a lot of people I've never seen before, and there wasn't a weak link in the entire bunch. I think everyone did a fantastic job acting-wise. Didn't take me out of the movie at all. I enjoyed all the performances. Now, Joaquin Phoenix, of course, carries the film. I mean, the movie's called Napoleon. The thing that I really like about his performance here was that there was a playfulness and a quirkiness in his portrayal of Napoleon that I just didn't expect that. I didn't expect that to happen. And so it was really kind of interesting to see this different take on Napoleon. Now, granted, I don't know a whole lot about Napoleon, but I really enjoyed that. And it made it easier to watch. Vanessa Kirby, though, wow. What a performance. Josephine, her character Josephine is the heart of this movie. And whenever they're together, it's great. It is really, really amazing stuff. And I think I don't know if she's going to get any nominations for this performance, but it was really, really good. And it makes you go, okay, she's somebody to watch from now on. Really, really great performance. Now, I've heard that their relationship is sort of described as being toxic. And while that's not exactly wrong, I do feel that there was a love there. And I think that was really, it was really interesting to watch the two of them play, off of each other. And they just had a very complicated relationship. And it was really interesting to see all of that play out. And again, those two great actors working off of each other, it was really fun to watch. Unfortunately, a lot of the movie doesn't take place with the two of them together. And their relationship should have been the focus of this movie. I feel like the battles and all of the political intrigue and all that kind of stuff, it got in the way of what I felt was the most interesting thing about the movie. Sometimes I feel like the script didn't really know what it wanted to be. So the battles felt almost, I wouldn't say insignificant because they weren't, but it was kind of unclear. I was unclear as to why these battles were so important when all of this other stuff, again, I mean, this is based on real life, but man, their relationship was so interesting. And the rest of it just felt kind of half-baked, maybe. Now, full disclosure, I mean, it's probably obvious at this point, but I don't exactly have, a huge amount of knowledge when it comes to French history, but I sort of feel like that's a failure of the storytelling, because I feel like you should present those things, right? And the audience is there to take this material in, and I feel like I'm missing information. I'll also say that because of that, it gave it a coldness to the overall feeling of the entire film, that there wasn't, I don't know, it just felt like there wasn't a lot of heart in it. Now, I will also say, as a Ridley Scott fan, I'm a huge fan of Ridley Scott, right? But the man doesn't always hit when it comes to those emotional things. It's more about the making of the film, and there's a harsh technicality to it that a lot of Ridley Scott movies have. So this one, because of the lack of that heart, I don't know. It's a hard movie to recommend, really. But I will also mention that if you have access to Apple TV, Napoleon will be coming to Apple TV at some point. We don't know exactly when. It hasn't been announced or anything like that, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen. But along with the theatrical cut, Ridley said that there is a 4-hour cut. And look, even though this is, as far as Ridley Scott movies go, this is probably somewhere in the middle. It's not it's not the worst movie, but it's not the best either. I still want to see this 4-hour cut to see if a lot of the stuff that I feel like I was missing, maybe that's put back in the 4-hour cut, and it makes it breathe a little better, because I feel like it's missing that. So I guess we'll see. So Napoleon, look, I mean, hey, it's a thing. It's kind of mid-grade, like 6 or 7 out of 10, or maybe like a 2.5, 2.75 out of 4. It's not my favorite Ridley Scott movie. It's not the worst, but I don't know. It's just missing that heart. But I'm curious if you've seen it and what you think of it, or what you think of Ridley Scott as a whole. Any movies that you really, really like? Maybe some reviews that you might be looking forward to that I haven't done yet? Hey, let's talk about it in the comment section, because that's fun. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.